almost live from the Herbert I. Greenberg Studios at WHIG. It's Up Late with Sam Bass.
Thank you, Scott Smith. Good evening and welcome to the show. First, we have a first-class show for you tonight thanks to our new presenting sponsor, First Class Real Estate Triangle East. I want to give a big thank you to Brett and Tiffany Hill and their entire team over there. Great folks. I see them everywhere. They're great in the community. I want to also take a second here to thank Metro Maintenance, another great community organization, great company. I want to give a special shout out this week to their HVAC technician, Mickey Simpkins. He's been with them for over 20 years. If you've got a unit that's down, he's the guy. They actually call this guy the HVAC Whisperer. Never heard of such a thing, but that's what they say. I want to remind you, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop us an email from time to time, so we want to hear what you got to say about the show. So you've heard the expression "for the birds," right? It usually refers to something that's annoying or trivial or something you don't really want to do. Well, what can I say? This episode tonight is for the birds, but in a good way. Brent Lubbock from Sylvan Heights Bird Park in Scotland Neck is here in person tonight, and he brought birds. So if you hear a funny noise or you wonder why I've got this cover on the table, that's why. They're probably making a first-class mess in our green room right now, but it wouldn't be the worst mess we ever had back there. I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who you are. So back in our green room a little earlier, I told Brent, don't worry, the show is almost live. It's taped, almost live. So you don't have to worry about anybody making a mess. He said, hey, don't worry about my birds are trained. You don't have to worry about them. I said, well, it's more me that's the problem here, so I promise I'm going to try not to make a mess here. So they did put the plastic out for the birds, and we're actually thinking about making it part of the permanent set, just in case I spill something, get out of hand. I promise I won't do that. I'm going to be on my best behavior tonight. Count on it. This kind of looks like the old kill room from the TV show Dexter. I feel like I need to tape somebody down on this end, but maybe we'll keep it. I kind of like it. So speaking of birds, this is the time of the year when birds start mating. I've already seen it happening. And when these birds are caught up in the moment, it's like they're oblivious to everything around them. And they're chasing each other around, swooping, diving. Looks like they're having a good time. I just wish they would look where they were going, because I'd really hate to hit one with my vehicle. I've done that before, and it's a terrible feeling. I'm a huge bird lover, and if anybody knows me, they know that. I'm the guy that when I'm walking my dog or out for my morning run, if I see a dead bird, I'm picking it up. It's going to be buried in my backyard. I have a bird and squirrel graveyard in my backyard, believe it. So, with that being said, I want to get into my top 5 favorite things about birds. Here they are. Number 5, they're pretty to look at. Plus, you can watch them through binoculars, and no one will think you're a creep for doing so. Have you ever seen those guys on the beach with binoculars? Maybe you're that guy. They act like they're looking at the ocean, but in all reality, they're probably looking at somebody in their swimsuit. I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's a little creepy. But for birds, such behavior is perfectly acceptable. I think I hit a bird. Number 4, birds have beautiful voices. At least most of them do. I'm not really fond of the raven. It makes a kind of harsh, grating, shrill, calling sound. Kind of like every time you turn on The View. Number 3, the ability to mate in the air while flying. At least some species can do that. It's pretty impressive. You talk about the Mile High Club. It kind of gives a new meaning to the phrase flying united. I'm not going to comment too much other than to say it's good to have goals. Moving on. Number 2, birds are very intelligent. Some of them can speak coherently. Many are known to have exceptional memory. Some can even solve puzzles. Well, hey, maybe a bird should run for president. Sounds like they already have a pretty distinct advantage there. And my number 1 favorite thing about birds is they're tasty, especially when they're fried. Sorry, Brent. Sorry, birds. Sit tight. Don't fly away. We'll be right back. Brent Lubbock will be right here.
Metro Maintenance has provided fast, reliable services in Nash, Edgecombe, and Halifax counties for over 35 years. Metro Maintenance offers services for residential, commercial, and institutional facilities. These services include heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and general repairs. Our numerous years of experience, knowledge, and resources help us to accomplish our mission of serving our customers with superior service achieved through integrity and hard work. All of our work is guaranteed. For service, call 252-977-2730 or find us on the web at metro-maintenance.com. First Class Real Estate Triangle East. When buying or selling a property, think of us first.
We are back, and I'm here with Brent Lubbock from Sylvan Heights Bird Park in Scotland Neck. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure. I look forward to coming out and be able to share the birds we have at Sylvan Heights with you guys.
And as promised, we've got covering because we have birds.
Shall we test it out?
Let's go ahead. Let's pull one arm out of there and see what we've got here.
All right. Here we go.
Ooh.
First one. Don't worry.
Wow.
You're not in the splash zone. This is a North American wood duck, sometimes called a Carolina duck. This is one of our education birds. And this is a male. He's got all the bright colors, especially this time of year because they're going through a breeding season. But his name is Freddie. That's what we use. But not just the colors, but you look at the feathers too. It's just amazing, all the different styles of feathers on this bird.
Can I touch him?
Yeah. Just go real slow. Yeah.
He won't chomp at me, will he?
No, he's used to it.
Oh, he's pretty.
And the feathers, of course we know feathers are good for flying and keeping dry, but they're also, I wasn't saying keep it dry, they're waterproof. If water hit this, turn into droplets straight off. So
Wow.
it keeps them very dry from all the
So
elements.
the law of nature is the male has the coloring and the female does not.
That is correct. So yeah, the males have those bright colors to get the lady's attention. And also the females have the browner colors, so when she's sitting on the nest, predators can't see her. So he could actually, with his sounds and colors, he'd get predators to go further away from a nest. So it helps protect them and stuff.
Very pretty.
And you'd see these around North Carolina. If you were in the wetlands and stuff, these are the common species around
Okay.
here. Yep.
Okay.
But, and then,
You said it's a wood duck.
Yep, wood duck. Sometimes in Europe they call them Carolina ducks because the majority of them are found in North and South Carolina.
Okay. Chomping at your ring there.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have a good old time.
Yeah,
But
he is so pretty.
another interesting fact about these guys is when the wood ducks hatch out, they'll come out of the top of trees like in a cavity and they'll fall all the way down and bounce and then carry on. No damage whatsoever.
Wow.
So, but,
Look, he is really pretty.
oh yeah.
I am very surprised he's so calm in here. I guess you use him all the time.
Yeah, he's
just
used
for education.
Mhm. So like coming up, we have a lot of schools coming up and going to visit, and also we do outreach. He's one of the guys that gets used. Now, if I had one of our other wood ducks in here, it wouldn't be pretty because he'd be running around flying everywhere.
But this is your good one.
Yeah,
though.
this is the education bird.
Okay, he doesn't like me.
Freddie, you want to turn that way? Let the people
All right,
see
Freddie,
you better.
yo, look at the camera, Freddie. Over here.
You can see those little web feet he's got too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this is a duck, and ducks are part of what we call the waterfowl family. And there's 3 types in the waterfowl family: ducks, geese, and swans. Didn't bring a swan, but I did bring a goose, which we're going to see later.
Oh, boy.
And ducks, there's about, over 100 different species of ducks in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, there's only 30 species of geese in the world, and there's about 8 species of swans.
Okay.
And,
He's-
go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's good.
Oh,
there he goes.
Stay there, buddy.
He's really, I can't get over the coloring of this. I hope the camera picks this up. It's really a pretty bird.
Yeah, I know it's unbelievable the way the light hits it too. So some places aren't just one color. When the light hits it, it'll change.
Right.
Iridescent stuff.
He's trying to get me.
And there's actually, if you come to Sylvan Heights, there's some what we call leucistic species. Not albino, where albino has no pigmentation. Right. Leucistic means silver, apricot, and even white, where the whole color. This male wood duck would just be completely white, completely silver, or apricot color.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a rare thing?
It's a very rare thing, but it does happen. Survival wouldn't be good in the wild with those colors. Predators would see them easy, but it does happen sometimes in captivity.
Yeah. All right, well, let's look at number 2 right quick.
All right.
See you, Freddie.
Freddie. So I'm going to have to go down a little bit because this one's a little bigger.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Actually, we might make sure we we'll move that somewhere here. Do you want to push that? This one's a bit larger. And this is Beatrice. And Beatrice is a goose.
Oh, Lord.
Hold on. There we go. Get comfortable.
Okay.
So Beatrice is a bar.
I understand.
Wait till Beatrice does hers.
I feel your pain.
You can let us talk? Are we going to be able to talk, Beatrice? Or maybe not?
Well, we have to do the interview with Beatrice.
You can. I think, yes, you go ahead.
Beatrice, how are you liking Rocky Mountain today? Really? I feel the same way. Yes. Yeah, well, it can't be perfect. We do the best we can.
So Beatrice, you can let me talk a bit? All right. So you can see why Beatrice is called a bar-headed goose, because of the bars on her head. This is one of the highest flying birds in the world.
Highest flying?
Highest flying. This
really?
one, over the... somewhere like the Alps and places in Europe and Asia, they can fly up at those high altitudes where people in planes can actually see them flying at those high altitudes. And quite a few years ago, Beatrice, interesting thing happened is a lady named Jessica Meir. She was one of the 2 astronauts when they had 2 ladies in space, outer space. She came to us and she imprinted, gotten used to her, a flock of bar-headed geese. And the reason she did that is she wanted to fly them in a wind tunnel and measure their oxygen. And because what happens when they fly at such high altitudes, they slow their breathing down. So that's how they can be up high. They're not breathing like we are currently.
So what kind of altitude are we talking about they can get to?
Thousands and thousands of feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You better now? You calming down?
So looking at a goose compared to a duck, a lot larger, as you can see. A lot of people think of geese, they think Canada geese because the golf courses, because they're mainly grazers. They're not on the water like the ducks and swans are. Longer legs, of course, but still the web feet and stuff. And the males and females, they're not dimorphic, they're monomorphic, meaning the males and females look the same. So you see a male goose and a male.
Well, I was going to ask you if the male had more color.
Nope, same colors. And other than Freddie, the wood duck we just saw, with most of the waterfowl we imprint, we do the females. Males normally get aggressive, so they're not always good for doing stuff.
Yeah.
You're using your kill.
Hey, good thing we've got it. That's why it's there, Beatrice. Feel free.
But yeah, she's a really great goose. Same thing with the wood duck, the feathers.
I'm a little more hesitant because of the term getting goosed.
Here, let me turn around. You might get pooed, but you won't get goose this way.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, just go slowly.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's all right. You know a bird lover when you see one, right?
Yeah, she's really, really good.
Yeah, very pretty bird.
But you can see that bill and stuff they use for...
Yeah. Got quite a chest on you there. Quite a breast, I should say.
Just don't want her flying off. So.
Yeah, that's right. So she could take off flying if she wanted to.
She would need more space, kind of like an airplane needs to take off. But yeah, if she's got enough runway, they can fly because they're taking the air.
Okay, look out over there, Sandra and Jamie. Okay, all right, well, let's move on. We'll talk to you a little bit about your park.
All right.
Beatrice, I'm sorry, you got to get back in the cage.
Oops, hold on. There we go. That's all right. She's not taking off. There we go. Good girl. All right.
All right, so I'm going to give you your drink back. Watch out for the...
a poo. Yeah,
little,
that's part of the hazards in this business.
Well, you know, that's exactly why the cover's out here.
Well, they did a good job, that's for sure.
So let's talk about Sylvan Heights Bird Park.
Okay.
Theme park for birds.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, yeah.
No roller coasters.
No roller coasters, no plan on roller coasters. The thrill ride is going in with our landing zone and having parakeets fly down and eat off your hand, and then hand feeding a flamingo. And if you have a bird phobia, that's probably just as good as any major roller coaster when you go in there. So.
Yeah. Well, I've been over there, and I want you to tell what would most people expect if they've never been. What are they going to expect when they show up at Sylvan Heights?
If I guess, I mean, because there's footage out there and there's people talk about it and stuff, and we're in Scotland Neck, so I think people's expectations is this little farm, a bunch of birds running around, and one of the nice things I think for people visiting for the first time, that our staff and everyone's done a really good job of with the aviaries and the example, and they get exposed to a lot of birds they never thought they'd ever see. And so what we hope after visiting our places, you gain a little bit of appreciation and understanding. And if it's not birds, just knowing that the world has lots of really cool things in it. So.
Right, so you guys opened in 2006, correct?
Correct, so almost 20 years when we get up to 2026, so yeah.
So what is your role there?
Well, started off with the marketing communications after I graduated from East Carolina. And then as things grew, we started with like 18,000 visitors. Now we see about 60,000, hoping for more. So I'm actually the director of operations. So between me and our director of aviculture, we kind of handle the whole business. He helps take care of the animals and the grounds, and I help with all the human aspects of it.
So how long have you been with the park? I know you said graduated from East Carolina.
Yeah, since the beginning.
Okay.
So, yes, the very beginning. Got the degree, and I actually worked for the North Carolina Zoo Society doing the job I was doing then for 5 years, so there was no concern of nepotism, because I'm a Lubbock, and I was working with my parents, which are also Lubbocks.
So what's the favorite thing about your job?
For me, I think each day is pretty unique. You never know what's going to happen, and someone always told me if you work with animals or children, you can never plan it out. So, we have lots of kids coming to the park, and we have lots of animals. So each day is a different day, and it's a different surprise, but also learning something new.
So do you feel like you have a natural way with animals? Is that something learned or just something somebody has?
It's a bit of both. I think, most people grew up with a dog or a cat, possibly as a pet.
Right.
I grew up with loads of birds, so it's part of my background. But I think it is also something people that put time into it can learn and respect, and can be good with handling and doing, because there's a certain way you want to handle birds.
Is there a certain bird that you particularly like? If it's not one of these guys, it's okay. We don't have to talk about it. Is there anything in particular that really stands out for you?
For me, it is some of the educational animals, because those ones we put a lot more time into. But there's even Emmett the emu, which we don't use for education, and he's such a big hit at the park with the visitors and stuff. So, but with over 2,500 birds and over 200 some species, I wouldn't say I have a favorite, because there's always something different, and I appreciate each bird for what it's got to offer.
So I wanted to ask you about, so right next to you guys, you have the Sylvan Heights Avian Breeding Center.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's actually the original business, and it still exists today. When my folks and I moved, so a little history lesson we got some time.
Okay.
So we moved from England in the early 80s. We lived in Montgomery, Alabama with a business partner there.
Right.
Started the collection then. And then we had another opportunity with another business partner in Sylva, North Carolina. So that's where the name comes. Okay. Sylva meaning wooded, Sylvan means wooded. We were up in Sylva, and my folks were raising waterfowl, ducks, geese, and swans. Okay. So all the other birds kind of came later when we opened the park. And did that for 5 years, and it was okay. I always tell people, my family, no one's rich in this. We're feather millionaires. You do this because you love it, and you gain from the appreciation of the animals and sharing that information. But after about 5 years, 1989, business partner there passed away. Son wanted to build condominiums and said, "It's great what you've got, but I need to get it out of here." And my godparents, Toad and Hannah Herring, who live in Scotland Neck, said, "Would you guys be interested in moving it to Scotland Neck?" And we said, "All right." So we moved the entire collection of birds from Sylva to Scotland Neck, where we were known for parking in the middle of the road. And years later...
Everybody knows that about Scotland.
Yeah, and years later, thanks to the Zoo Society, we were able to create a membership and create some knowledge. But that didn't still pay all the bills and the work we were doing with conservation education. And so we said, well, what about building a park? And that's when I had the degree and I came on board. And 18 years later, we're still growing and still doing.
That's great.
What was the original question? I think I might have messed it up for you.
You did fine.
Okay.
So we got a picture we're going to put up here of a young lady holding what appears to be a a flashlight up to an egg.
Okay.
And I believe the process is called candling.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So basically, when a bird lays an egg, the first day or so you might not see anything, but after a couple of days, a small dot starts to form. That's the heart, and then the little lines are the veins.
Kind of like an ultrasound type.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we use the flashlight in a dark space to be able to look to see how the egg has progressed. There's also an air pocket that forms too. Most birds take about 30 days to hatch out. And when they get ready to hatch out, they'll do a 360-degree chip all the way around the air pocket area. They come out. We have a machine called a fluffer upper. We put them in that. It dries them off, just like the mother would. And then there's a process that we make sure that the birds go through to do what they need to with feeding and water and all that stuff.
So folks, I got to tell you, if you haven't been, you have to go. I've been. It's incredible. So what do you think? What's the future? What do you see for the future of Sylvan Heights?
Well, to me, it's for right now. This present moment is we're fundraising for penguins. It's something that our visitors.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So that's the big thing. We started discussing penguins in 2018, and then COVID hit, changed things around. We had another donation came in, and we built the Birds of Paradise, which I think last time you saw, which is that large aviary.
Right.
And then we got back to it, and people kept asking, like, where were the penguins and all this, and it's a major project to get penguins.
I can imagine.
And talking to Dustin, our director of aviculture, I said, is there a way to get a few penguins, start small, so we can still build the bigger project? And he said, yeah, for this amount, we could do a smaller aviary there with the plans to build the bigger aviary just to get a few penguins. And so we had a match, been raising that match towards the 100,000. It's going to take about 250,000. Once we announce that, we'll be a year out, and you'll see the first footprint with a few penguins. With a bigger footprint, we're going to be fundraising for that's going to have a focus on water and how water is important to birds, and we're going to have waterfalls and all these other cool things. So when we do something, we don't usually do it like anybody else. We try to do something unique, special, because we know the importance of our exhibits. One, for the birds, make sure the birds are happy and in a good area, but also the other aspect is to engage so the people who are seeing these birds, the birds are happy, but also the people are transported. We want people to understand the habitats and the importance of those habitats these birds live in, because if we don't learn about where these birds are from and we don't protect those habitats, then the birds in the water are just going to disappear.
Well, that sounds exciting, getting penguins. I'd love to see that. So
we'll get you out there.
I got to come. So I want to ask you something about your dad.
Okay. Yeah, he's the man.
I talked to your dad a little bit when we went over there.
Right.
He's from Liverpool.
Well, yeah, I guess he's from that area, yeah. So.
And he was like on an American Bandstand type show.
Yep.
And at one time, he was more famous than the Beatles or the Rolling Stones.
He was, well, yeah, in a way, yes. I know it sounds weird, but you're right, because the show was called Disco Go-Go. And the deal was that he was a professional dancer. And the setting was where the band would come out. It's like a coffee shop type area. And he'd learn these new dances, the jives and all this, were early 60s. And I think they called him Texas Mike because our last name's Lubbock. So he would go on, he'd have the cowboy boots and all this, and he'd have a dance partner, and they would dance. Well, the bands that were coming on were like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Jimmy. But they weren't famous then, because remember, early 60s, they're just starting out. So one of my dad's stories I always love is that this guy had played that night, and he's outside. Dad's coming outside the studio. The guy's sitting on the steps smoking a cigarette, looks up at my dad and says, well, how did you think I did? And the dad was like, yeah, you were pretty good. It was Eric Clapton. Oh, God. But at the time, he wasn't. He was just playing his music, just getting out there.
Just getting on.
Yeah. And so his dad met all these real famous people in those early stages.
So this is a show within itself.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about all that.
I know. But you asked the question.
It's a great story, and I want to hear more about it. So I want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
This interview went by very quickly.
Okay.
But thank you so much. We'll have to get you back on here. Maybe bring your dad over here. We'll talk a little bit more.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing the birds.
Oh, my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
so much. We'll be right back.
Metro Metro Maintenance has provided fast, reliable services in Nash, Edgecombe, and Halifax counties for over 35 years. Metro Maintenance offers services for residential, commercial, and institutional facilities. These services include heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and general repairs. Our numerous years of experience, knowledge, and resources help us to accomplish our mission of serving our customers with superior service achieved through integrity and hard work. All of our work is guaranteed. For service, call 252-977-2730 or find us on the web at metro-maintenance.com. First Class Real Estate Triangle East. When buying or selling a property, think of us first.
Hey, welcome back. We've got a new feature I want to talk about on the show. There's a fine group in Wilson called the Maggie Society that helps dogs get placed into homes. We're going to feature a dog tonight. This dog is a shelter survivor and a heartworm survivor. His name is Cup of Joe. He is a pit bull terrier foxhound mix, about 5 years old. He's great with families, with a little bit older kids. So take a look at him if you're interested. Get in touch with the Maggie Society over in Wilson. I want to thank my guest, Brent Lubbock, for coming tonight, all the way from Scotland Neck, from Sylvan Heights. Great show. We enjoyed the birds. And look, every Thursday night, make sure you join us right here at 10 o'clock on WHIG for a great time. I'll see you soon. Join me again. Take care.